Maíomh go léir a cóide agus tófáilte ród. Welcome to Be My Guest with me, Mary Honan, on Lear Media TV, supporting the Samaritans, Limerick and Tipperary. And my lovely guest today is actually quite an extraordinary human being, really, and it's Mariam Ibrahim. Originally Sudanese, but now living in the United States. And to say that Mariam's story is one of survival and one of great strength is really quite understating it. Hello, Mariam.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
You're living in Virginia now.
I live in Virginia, yes. I live in Virginia.
You like it there?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I'm blessed. Yeah.
The weather must be similar to the Sudan. In this, it would be warm there, wouldn't it, in Virginia?
No, not really, but it's nice. It's cold. You get snow, lots of rain. Yeah.
So take us back, Mariam. You were born in the Sudan in 1987, if I'm correct, on the 3rd of November 1987, and you were arrested. You were married, and you had one little boy, a 20-month-old little boy, when you were arrested for the crime, they said, of apostasy. Could you explain your story to us, Mariam?
Okay, yes. I was born for a Muslim father and Christian mother. We are 3 siblings. We lost my father I was 6 years old at that time. So I was raised by my mother. She's Christian, an Orthodox Christian. I grew up in a small city on Gedarif. I was born in a refugees camp, and then after my father was passed, my mother moved to a different city. Especially my little sister was experienced some health issues. So I grew up in a Muslim extremist society. So there's no difference between Christian and Muslim. You see girls on the street wearing a hijab, covering their head, and names also. You know, some case you have to name your child as Islamic names so you don't be questioned or you don't have any issues. So I grew up Christian. Go with mom to the chair, but not really. I can say I'm not really 100% believer at that time. So we go to church just for friends because our neighborhood is like wealthy families. So they look up on us like, because my mom worked most of the time as a maid. So I do always help my mother whenever she needed help. So, and I grew up by time, and then when I reached high school, I wasn't able to complete my schooling because of financial issues. My mom couldn't able, so I have to go to do some computer program in Comboni Center. We have one of the biggest Catholic educational center. It's called Comboni. So, and there I met Father John Francis, Catholic priest. Until then, I was Orthodox. I've never tried church. I met Father John at the center. He worked in Khartoum, but he goes visit around cities around on Sudan. He visit my city, and I was one of the groups that are in charge, like providing the hospitality and things on the center. So and he spotted me, and he asked. Then my teacher said, "I'm very smart, but so I'm doing some. I'm not a student at the school, but I'm doing a different program to do some computer programs so you can be able to get a job at the library on Gedarif University." So Father John said, "I will help you complete
your education." Mariam, how difficult was it growing up in Khartoum or in the Sudan? As a Christian, because there's only about 1% of the population who is Christian that
I,
would
uh,
be Muslim.
mhm, mhm.
How difficult was it? Did you have to hide your Christianity? You say that you all took Islamic names so that you didn't stand out and you all wore the hijab, so that nobody was identifiable as being Christian. I presume you couldn't have the crucifix like you have behind you right now. I presume you couldn't have outward displays of Christianity. How difficult was that for a child, because you wouldn't really understand even that you were a Christian, or that there was. I'm a Catholic, and I would never had. I mean, I was what I was. I had no idea that I was Catholic, or that my grandparents were Protestant, or that there was, you have no idea of your religious identity as children. You just are what you are and what you're brought up. How was it for you? How
Well,
difficult for you?
it's very difficult, but my mothers always do pray over us, and we have to follow the rules. Like when you live in this small city, we need to respect the authorities. One of the time I was like, I wear pants and short. They don't want that, so they start complaining and told my mother, if your daughter didn't follow the rule, respect. I was 7 years old. So you're gonna have to be moved out of this city. So my mom said, okay, we just moved in this city like a couple of months, and then we needed to respect the authority. So you have to wear a hijab. And then later, the same year, the girls, like after Eid al-Fitr, at the end of Ramadan, after Ramadan, the Eid, and then after 2 months, the Eid al-Fitr. So this is the big celebration. They have to cut the girls, like female male, genital mutilation. So when they came on our neighborhood, I have to do it because, in this case, people look at you like as a shame, like you're unclean. How could you not being cut? Like, you're a girl. You are not even invited to wedding or things like that. You're not going to be able to play with the girls because they identify like you're not being cut. You're dirty. Things like that. So
Mariam, were you subjected to genital mutilation?
yes, I did. And then because my mom she was forced to do it. So I remember there's a big celebration on the neighborhood because all the girls, who they are, and they move from house to house because with a midwife and the old ladies in the neighborhood. So when my term came, I have to run and hide in the bushes. This is actually hurted me more than helped me because everybody knew that I was running, and they know that my mom is Christian, and they know that I'm supposed to, like, they're not sure because I mean at the end, so I have to hide. Well, they have to come and search and all this, and I was the last girl on the area and the neighborhood, so everyone was there. And these four old ladies were inside with the midwife to tell her like what to do exactly, like how to do the procedure, and they want to witness it because this foreign woman, Christian woman, is not gonna do this girl right for my mom. So they done that, and then it's just so hard. I'm like, our substitutes, my mom, why we don't listen to, why we always listen, why we are scared of them? You said, because that's what we do, because we needed to live in peace. I said, I mean, we go to church in secret, we celebrate Christmas in secret, all this stuff, especially when you are the specific group of people, like from South Sudan, just known as Christian. You are identify them. Everybody people from South Sudan. And when the two countries split, actually the Christian was left like on the middle, the minority of the other tribe, the country.
Not every Muslim country carries out, it has to be said, genital mutilation. Why?
Mhm.
What effect? What effect did that have on you psychologically, and not to mention physically?
Mhm.
That must have had a devastating physical and
It,
psychological effect on you.
it is so hard, even like until now. I really, but the other problem is this is the main biggest concern for me since I was at the school. Like the way they teach us, like we are forced to study Islamic law, Sharia. We are forced to study Quran because by the law, every student has to pass the Islamic subject. You know, if you
Yeah,
did not pass,
you were a country that was under Sharia law.
yeah, you have to study. Even Christian, we studied. We know everything about Quran. We know everything. All the students, this is all around the country. Many countries, not just Sudan. You have to study Islamic subjects. If you did not study, you won't be able to move to second, to next grade. You know,
Yeah.
since pre-K, like, and then there's no religious education for other religion. So we have to go to church on Sunday to study, and then you have to go to. They don't even consider, like, they don't even question you to submit your Christian religious test result. They don't care. But as the family do that, you know,
Yeah.
and most of the time it's very hard for the care to navigate with all the students to provide the education that we needed. So it's really hard. We're missing so much, like, you know, and many times Sunday was a schooling day, you know. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have a Sunday. So yeah, we have Friday and Saturday.
Oh, you
So this
don't
is
have Sunday.
on Sunday we have to go to school, and we have to go to, people go to work and everything like normal life.
All
Is not
right.
Friday is the religion holiday. So yeah.
So, but I still can't get over what was inflicted on you as a
Yeah,
little.
after I left, so after I finished high school with Father John's help, I have to move to I realized very high grade, and I have to move to Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. That's why I start college. I went to medical school, and then I have to stay with the nun. That's why I convert to Catholicism. I
Converted to Catholicism.
Yes, in 2005. Yes. So I stayed. I was a part of the little sister of the poor charities with the nun. They have large house in Khartoum. They provide service and support for the children and elders, especially children on the street and people with a disability. So I would see all those like young girls being wandered or on the street. They come in there, some of them are pregnant, like 12, 14, 17 years old. The nuns will help them. And many times they do all this like in secret. Even me, when after I finish from the school, when I go to the house, I would go by like behind door, so because we're afraid we'll be targeted or we'll be tracked by yeah. Sudan really was so bad at that time. I mean, things now is changed and the government trying, but it's really not something really like being in a reality yet because we still have many.
How did nuns and priests go about their daily lives in Khartoum? Because one would think that they would be visibly, by their appearance, uh,
Mhm.
not part of the 99%, that they would be most definitely the 1%. They would be most definitely Christians. Did they have to were they able to wear their vestments and wear the uniform, the veil, the
Yeah.
wimpet? They
Yeah,
were.
they do that. They do that. And for Catholic Church in Sudan is most of the time they do support Muslims and other minorities more than Christian. Like the church, this is a good thing about church in Sudan, especially Catholic church, where I was most of my time. It's open. I remember father will be around walking on the church building outside. Even there, you see the line of women and people are sick and students. And a part of the thing I did also volunteer with San Mansour's charity. This is as a medical group. They provide. We got this medical equipment and medicines came from Italy direct. So we donate things for the pharmacies, for the hospital, the small clinics around the city. So church is always open. But the thing is, they never we don't share the gospel. We just provide help. You can, because if it happen and they that you even just talk about this. When I go many times with Father John to the hospital, I remember he would offer a prayer to people. You Muslim, can I pray for you? You can see that the doctor or nurse following us around on the tour. They would just he don't tell people what Jesus is what. He always telling me we show faith in action. So because
there is truth in that.
And I remember when I was in college, they told me, "Oh, you are very good. If you are a Muslim, you will go to paradise." If you're a good person, you care for people.
It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you do good.
Yeah, because you're Christian, so you go to hell. So they know that is guaranteed.
But Mariam, everything went wrong. You met your husband, who was a Christian also, and he suffered with is it not cerebral palsy? He was in a wheelchair, wasn't he? Your husband?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And you met him, but you had one little boy, and then you were pregnant on your second child, a little girl, when you were arrested on the betrayal, am I right, by your stepbrother?
Mm-hmm.
A member of your close family betrayed you. How did that happen?
Yeah, okay, this has happened after I lost my mother. So my mom had passed away during that time. I just my last year of in college. So it's very hard time for me, but then I'm very supportive, my church. So, and at that time, I do know my husband, how to get to know him, because when we go to retreat at the church, so there's a girl at the church, she's in a wheelchair, and my priest tell me, Mariam, you're the only one I do trust to take care of Adriana. So I would do watch over her after Adriana. She's my sister-in-law. Later become my sister-in-law, and then we become friends, me and her. And then I have to go visit them in their house, and she get to introduce me to all the families, and we became friends. And that's how I can get to know her brother. She's the father of my children. So we got married on November 19, 2011. So I got my husband is in the United States, but he go back and forth for a visit to Sudan. So after the wedding, he left me, and I was pregnant, and he came back to the States. So I stayed there, and I got to find some other things that I thought was, because I just graduated, my mom passed, and I just want to build a family. Really, I wanted the marriage. I want to build a family. But later I find out something that I didn't like. So I started my own small business with whatever my mom left. She left small farm and everything, and you have to sell everything and start small farming business, and then it's grow with the time, because I got very good help from the people that my mom used to work in their house. Seems like they really been so supportive for me. Even this was challenging, because in Sudan you can own a business if you're foreigner. Even my mom, all her stuff, I have to fight for her to get right to own small stores and things like that. So it's long story, but when my case happened, I have to use other those people because we have to be 35 years old and have a co-signer in order for you as a woman to own a small piece of land or anything, property or anything. You have to have a co-signer, and you have to be 35 years old. And I'm 23 at that time.
35.
So I did I did start my business, and then I have my first child. Martin was born in November 25, 2012. My life is so well, and it's very peaceful life. My church and everything going so well. So I started receiving phone calls, strange phone calls, and then some people on the church notice there's a few people come around the church. They think that people, because the church is open for everyone. So they took even a big show of me and my son. I told Father John, and he said, just let's pray about it. And then I actually have to change from a small church, family church, to the cathedral. It's just not too far, and it's in the same area. But I have to go to every Sunday to the cathedral and join other groups and things like that. So my husband went for a visit since in August of 2013. Martin was 8 months at that time. So my husband went for a visit, and things are normal. Just those phone calls. And then that day, on September 13, 2013, I got the call from the police. I'm like, oh, yes, I am, because I thought I'm supposed to go actually to ship some items to my store. I just opened 2 months ago in Gadari for my city. I opened it. This is big, huge store. And then I ship items from Khartoum. I even go to Dubai and go to buy like electronic devices, kitchen supplies, things like that. So
you were extremely entrepreneurial. You were somebody who really had the get up and go to try and make a big business for yourself. And that must have been unusual in itself for a woman to be in business in the Sudan and to be such a big businesswoman.
Father John said the same, my priest, and he even asked me to slow down on things like, you're going to be spotted somehow. And I said, Father, like he even said, Mariam, are you thinking of leaving Sudan especially when these people come around? Because I think he knew, because his relationship with my mom was very strong. He knew a lot of things. He even was the person who's supposed to testify on my case, only the person. And he was dead a day before the court hearing was found dead. So when I moved to Khartoum, I needed to have a guardian in order for me to get a room at the campus or somebody to follow up with my schooling. So my mom assigned him as my guardian, and the court accepted in my case because I don't have any family members. So what's happened?
Sorry, they phoned you. The police phoned you.
It's found me, and I went because I thought maybe someone like things involved this. Maybe they find out about like opening the store and doing things like what is going on, like. And I went there. I went to the police because I know they haven't done anything wrong. Took my son early in the morning, like that's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning.
And you were pregnant?
No, I'm not pregnant at that time. September. So I went to the police station, question, and when we went there, there's a man sitting over there, and the man have a knife. He wearing like a knife out here in the police station. And as soon as I walk in, he said, "Here she is, my sister." And I'm looking at him, holding Martin on my arm, like, "No, I didn't know you." And the officer said, "These people said they're your family and they want to take you back." I said, "What?" I'm like, "I have my own family. It's my child. And my husband is coming after me." I said, he said, those people, they know, they find you and they want you to go with them. We don't even like share the same names or family names, things like that. I never saw you. I was struggling all my childhood, my life. I never saw anybody. I knew that I had a family from my father's side, because what happened is my father, actually, the reason we lost track on them, he's from Darfur in Eastern Sudan. The reason he left the family, he had to, he killed someone in a different tribe. His sister, my aunt, which is my aunt, had a relationship with him, and when he find out, she go like walk with him and things like that. He killed a man. It's an honor killing. He killed a man and he killed his sister.
Wow.
So he ended up hiding on that refugee camp as a bus driver. That's where he got to meet my mother. So, and they got married. She's 16 years old at that time, and she had me, she's 17. So,
Only a child herself.
yeah, but because she's a refugee, I mean, she's a foreigner. She's beautiful, and all the time the argument about him trying to convert her. You know, he escaped from what's called the family is trying, the whole tribe are coming after him because they're seeking revenge for their son was that. And then the other people in the family are not happy with him killing his sister, you know, things like that. I mean, it's horrible situation, and I don't know. My mom don't know this, I think. I believe she don't know about this when they got married. But when he started getting violent and forcing her like to wear to cover her face, because she's beautiful and she worked like on the market or with on the maid, so he wanted her to cover her face to convert to Islam, and she did not want to do that. So back to how my case start. After the court, after went to police, you know, the question is, I said, no, I told the officer, I really would know that they have family. He said, they know where you are. Now you're not safe. I said, if they know where I'm at, why they then came in and knocked my door? Why am I being dragged to the police station like I'm criminal? He said, because they don't like the way you're living your life. I said, what is the thing that they don't like? They said, because you are not supposed to be a Christian. You are Muslim. I said, well, that's something different then. But I'm a Christian and I married the church, so you have to provide my marriage certificate and everything. But the officer said, okay, we took our information, my other contact information, and he let us go that day. Okay? He said, we're going to call you when we present the case to the prosecutor after the prosecutor look into the case, because they opened case seriously. After 2 weeks, we got another call to come back to the court, to the police again. When we went there, that we get arrested and we've been dropped, we've been thrown in jail. So my husband and I, and the first charge was adultery, because the prosecutor said, okay, this is adultery. She's not supposed to be married to Christian, and she's supposed to be in prison. Okay, because she have a child. At that time, I just have Martin. Martin was just learned to crawl. We stayed the whole day in prison and in the cell, the police station, at like at 12 a.m. Somebody have to come and bail us out. They don't want to accept. They have special.
They charged you with adultery.
Yes.
Because adultery first, because they said that you were right to marry a Christian, because you were the daughter of a Muslim man, and you should have followed his religion rather than the religion that your mother had brought you up in.
I was very confused at that time. And then everybody like, you gotta escape and leave the country. And I said, no, I will never gonna do that. Everybody like, leave now. This is gonna get worse. This is gonna get hard. I said, no, I'm not leaving. This is gonna go right as God wanted to be. You know, are you gonna live your life in fear? I told them I'm not, because I didn't do anything wrong. You know.
Mariam, what made you so strong? I don't think there's, I think there's very, very, and I say this most sincerely, either you were insane or you were incredibly brave to continue working, knowing that there were people that at any moment you could have been arrested at the very least, which you were subsequently, but you could also have been killed. What made you so brave? Was it bravery or was it complete stubbornness or what was it? Because I don't know if I would have the courage. And I was brought up as in a strict Roman Catholic mother. My father converted with her to Catholicism in a sense because he was baptized Catholic, but he wasn't brought up as a Catholic. Because his mother wasn't Catholic, and she wanted to convert, but promised her family she wouldn't, or promised her father she wouldn't. But I don't know, would I have had the moral courage to have refused to give up my faith? I don't know. I hope I'll never be put in that position.
No, I hope not. I don't wish nobody. So here is this. Before my mom was passed away, I was called for her. She got a car. They said it's a bus accident. And when I went to, I took a bus ride for 6 hours from Khartoum to Gedaref. I have only 30 minutes with my mom. She said few words for me, but until this day, I'm living with those words because my mom taught me about Jesus. And she taught me that fear is the enemy. Like, she told me, you're gonna face things, but whoever you facing, if you let them feel that you are scared of them, they will control you, you know? And God is always with you. And sometimes trials in life, if we focus in God, it will bring us closer to God, you know? But if you get like freaked out and get frustrated and get focused on the problem, you get upset, you get, you won't know what to do, that you won't be able to make a right decision. So, and I said, no, I'm not afraid. This case, the situation is not to destroy my life. They want to do that, but they won't because this is their law. It's not God's law. Because I'm not doing anything wrong. I do married at the chair. My husband is offered like traditional marriage. I said, no, I want to marry as a chair and I want to talk about, I want to do it right. Like my business, I pay the jizya, I pay the zakah and pay everything, I might not be a perfect person. Yes, I do mistakes. I fail to do things. But in this case, I did not do anything to hurt anyone. If they put me in jail with a criminal while I'm not, this is something that's gonna come out of this because I didn't do anything wrong.
But were you at no stage, I'm sorry to upset you now. I mean, I'm sorry. I hope this isn't bringing back too many memories for you, but at any stage, were you not afraid that you were going to be? I know you were on death row. I know there was a death sentence put on you because of all of this, but we're jumping. But at any stage, were you not afraid that even though you were doing nothing wrong, that you were only following the way everyone is only brought up in the religion that they're brought up in, whatever religion that happens to be, were you not afraid that it wasn't enough that you weren't doing anything wrong? Were you not afraid of death?
No, I wasn't. Because but the Bible said, "Don't be afraid for those who take the body, but the one who takes the soul and body." They want to kill me, like my body, because they want me to change my mind. to sell my soul out just to be alive. You know, even if I told the judge, the reason I was sent that day, I was sent to jail when he made up his mind on Christmas Eve 2013, because I told him, he said, you needed to listen. This is the law. They keep telling me the law, but they said, this is your law, it's not God's law. Okay. He said, the judge told me clearly, if you did not say Shahada and accept Islam, you're going to be sentenced to death. Do you know your crime? I said, do you think that's crime? He said, yes, it is. Because we have a law. And I'm here to do my job. I said, you're here to do your job, to send me to jail, to sentence me to death, because I told you I'm Christian. And if I lied to you and I told you, okay, I'm scared of the death, and of the death, and I don't want you to hang me, I accept Islam, and I walk out of this room, of this courtroom, and I get hit by the car and died. Would it be okay like that? He said, yeah, it's normal, because death in God's hand. I said, that's exactly my point. In God's hand, it's not in yours. It's not by the piece of paper that you sign to sentence me. He gets very upset. And he said, you know what, tomorrow is Christmas. You are not going to celebrate Christmas, and you are not going to enjoy the Christian life. You're going to go to jail tonight. I was like, the day before, you know, my trial starts since December. Since September, the case going back and forward, all the way to December, and still the argument, just say Shahada and walk out. What's my other option? My other option is accept Shahada, yes, and then go and flogged, 100 lashes for the adultery.
Yeah,
and
you were sentenced to 100 lashes, and
yes,
that's
option. Okay, this is
your execution.
Okay. Yeah, for the first thing, okay, you are a Christian girl, you married a Muslim, and you made a mistake, you apologize, and you accept a Shahada, and then let your husband, if you want to continue, and then the child, guess what's going to happen to my child? In this case, if you are a girl, Muslim girl, and you have a child outside the marriage, this child is going to be taken by the government, going to send to the orphanage. They have place for that, those kind of kids. So my child will be taken away because they have no right to, is wrong. He came wrong to this, he came by wrong way, you know. So, and it wasn't, this is just in their eyes. If you want to keep your child and keep your family, your husband have to convert to Islam and come to me here. You're gonna get married here in this courtroom. Islamic marriage. After he received the 100 lashes and apologized and accepted Shahada. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm Christian and I'm staying as I am. And if you did not respect that, I'm okay to kill me. I know even the Bible tell me I'm going to get persecuted. I'm going to get hated by men. I'm going to be thrown in jail. The Bible tell me that.
What happened when you were pregnant and you were 10 months pregnant?
Okay. Yeah, after this court hearing, that bad day is really terrible day because, you know, girls never respond to judge. Women never respond to judge. Women never speak up at the courtroom. You got to be in big trouble if you happen and you respond to the judge. If you look to the judge in the eyes. And that's what I got. I saw this all injustice and I had the feeling that God is going to show me something out of this. I really did. Like, you know, I'm just moving like people like, no, you have to listen. Are you suicidal? They told me you're going to kill yourself. That's somebody, you crazy, everybody. All around, I was left alone. I was betrayed by all the surrounding me. Because you crazy and you stupid and you don't know what you're doing. You don't care about your child. You don't care about everybody. You just want to kill yourself. You're going to be hard-headed. I'm like, all this stuff, I was considered crazy. I have mental illness.
They cared about you and they didn't want to see you die.
No, that's not what it is. What was they care about me? Father John said to me, Mariam, whatever you are feeling, that's something between you and God, Mariam. And if you, and I believe God is watching over you, and He knows what's going to happen in your life. And whatever you do, I will standing with you. We pray for you. We do whatever we can to make sure your child after you, like, okay, you're dying, will survive without you. And then after that hearing, okay, the judge assigned me to be sent to jail. Before I go back and forth to court from home, because it's just adultery, it's not a big crime. But that day I was charged with apostasy. In December.
Explain to people what apostasy means.
Apostasy is refusing to accept Islam. Like, you change. I was considered convert. Like, you doing something.
You were considered a convert to Christianity from Islam by virtue of the fact that you had a father who was Muslim and your mother was Christian, and under Sharia law.
Yes.
Law, you were. That's not to say that this is the same in any country, any other country, and I have to stress this. That in under Sharia law, you were to follow the religion of your father.
The religion, all this is in general in most Islamic country. In most Islamic country, children must follow their father's religion, and then you have to. If you were born to non-Muslim mother, you are considered Muslim. You have no other option. Even if you were a child, a baby like that, they already have law for you that force you to follow, in Islamic law. So you have to be a Muslim. And then if you grow up a girl like that, for a non-Muslim mother, you cannot marry a non-Muslim man. You can't. You technically just argue you're going to be charged. And then the judge told me many cases like that before you. And that is the option. A girl have to convert to accept Islam, and then the man have to convert. And in any case, you are a non-Muslim man and you are fall in love with Christian girl, you have to convert. To Muslim girl, Muslim man. You fall in love with a Muslim girl, you have to convert to Islam in order for you to marry. Unless if you are in Western countries. But as long as you are in a Muslim or Arab country, you have to convert, because the family won't allow you to marry their girl. The law won't allow you to do that unless if you are in Western country, you live here.
So what happened when they came for you?
Yeah, that day after I was charged with apostasy, as added, apostasy is a big crime and is a death sentence. So I have to be my court, I have to come back to the court from prison. I was supposed to be sent to jail, and I have chance. So before I was sent to the prison, I have to do some medical test. Martin was 9 months old at that time, my oldest son, and he just learned to walk. So was sent to the hospital to do medical tests. He's 10 months old, actually. To do some medical tests. And I came out, I was pregnant. 3 weeks. I wasn't even planning to have a child at that time, But just something happened. And I was so happy, like, oh, it makes the case worse for them. Because at the end of the trials, after I was sentenced on May 15, 2014, I was sentenced. By Sharia law also, they cannot execute or punish a pregnant woman. I was given 2 years to nurse the child. Okay? 2 years after I give birth to the child. So
so Martin would have been 4 at that stage.
Yeah, Martin is going to move from my care when he turned 2 years. So we are fighting it, and then there was something came. My lawyer advised that we should do whatever we can to get Martin's citizenship, U.S. citizenship, so the Sudanese government will have no right to do anything, because under my care, I'm Sudanese citizen, and this is a child, and by the law, my child supposed to go to the orphan. But my children are a U.S. citizen, but because they're born in Sudan, we don't have embassy at that time. The embassy is not really working to provide such service, so we can have it.
But your son would have been entitled to U.S. citizenship by virtue of.
So just anybody from here, anybody from the U.S. can have is in charge for his protection, not Sudanese government, because he's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
So okay, that's the thing that, and then that's my lawyer working on the case to do that, but it's getting hard for them to do that. It's almost impossible, and it was ugly argument with the U.S. embassy. So I just they weren't involved in any of that. My lawyer is doing that. I wasn't involved because I'm in prison. I don't even know anything about what's happening outside the world. I wasn't allowed even to have a piece of paper or pen, no communication with outside the world. I go to court, come back to prison, go to court, come back to prison every 2 weeks. I have a hearing. I done one. So the reason why they wasn't executed the next day because I'm pregnant. So in this case, one of the nuns would come and visit me wearing as a Muslim scholar because I'm not allowed to have any visitor, especially Christian. They would come in wearing al-hijab and pretend that they are a Muslim scholar. They want to talk to me about Islam because everybody at that time want to talk to me about Islam. And they believe that I was under a spell of black magic. They said that the church is using a black magic to convert the women and girls. So they would bring in a Muslim imam every 3 days to read Quran over me. It's something called a ruqya. If you're familiar with that, a ruqya.
No, but I would imagine it's something like an exorcism in the Catholic Church. And you were possessed, and that you were being controlled by the Catholic Church to remain or to become a Catholic.
Mm-hmm. And then he would have this heavy stick. He would flog me in the back and on my feet. Open your foot, and then flog me. I still have these bruises on my back from. I won't even show my kids. So, and they allow him to stay with me, and there is the other women will come in, like scholars, they will talk and go, but some of the nuns have to come wearing a hijab and holding Quran and holding a sibha, like the rosary we have, because we're going to be left alone. So that's the only way. Sometimes I communicate, but most of the time we just pray and they talk to me about my kids and how they're doing and what's. They say, I said I don't have any plan for anything. I'm relying on God, and He have a good plan for me, for my children, and I accept His will in my life, And I got to witness too many injustice, too many things that I know we're facing persecution, and I know it's part of our Christian journey, to face persecution, to be hated by the world, but I have never thought to see what I saw in prison. So much broken souls and injustice, and women are being mistreated so bad.
You were chained. You were shackled to the ground. Your legs were held down to the ground throughout your entire pregnancy, even during the birth, and only when you had your little girl were your legs unchained. Am I right? That's what.
No, in a case of being charged of crime, they received the sentence, as soon as I walk inside the prison building, I would have been chains around my legs. And then when I'm going to court, they take it out. Sometimes especially when my case faced so many, public attention, I got to notice why they're taking it out. So they took it out only, and then they put the one around my arm, my hands. They put the what's called handcuff.
Handcuffs.
Yeah, handcuffs. But and I have to carry Martin around. Like I have to move with Martin. He walk, yes, and then the other inmates, because we go as a group, they help me when I am on the car. Sometimes my lawyer will meet us over there. They take Martin. Even sometimes they take him outside the cell to get him some treat. So what happened is,
Mariam, he was imprisoned with you.
he is all the time, Martin, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. He was there all the time, Martin. I never, and I don't sleep because there's Muslim women are so angry at me. Many times Martin was almost been thrown in the manor hall. He was being beaten down, but I have to stay awake even at night. I don't sleep. I don't even remember one last time, like in prison, I slept like 30 minutes, continuing. I have to stay. People assume I have to stay awake. I was praying.
What were the conditions of your pregnancy in there? How were you treated?
I don't even know what I'm pregnant with. Like, you don't even, like, I don't even feel, I felt the child like when it's twice only. A night before I gave birth, and the next day after my sentence, I felt the child moving. But I know there's a miracle inside me, and I know there's something will happen after her, but I never had any like regular medical care or anything. With Martin, everything is different. Like I gave birth in this beautiful hospital. My doctor was a Christian, and then the pediatrician, the one who was there in the room while Martin was born, she received him, she get take care of him. None of this happened with with the second pregnancy. I don't even know. I have many health issues, but I never had to get anything like pain back or be sitting all this time. Martin wanna run around. We have to make up things, so make him like he wanna run around, and he's so upset. He would hold the chance and like he wanna take them out, and we start crying like he wanted me to walk with him and do things. So we would do the penguin walk because I can't move, so we do the penguin walk together with him, with the chance, because I can't move. One of the chances is really heavy, and then with the pregnancy,
yes, you were still chained. Your legs were still chained, even though you were.
Yeah, my left leg was so swollen. So even I still have the bruises, so swollen, and the chance have to like stick around with the pregnancy. Some just happen. There's a heavy swelling on my right leg. So and the chance have to like it really like so painful if when I move it. So I would just like slide my legs and hold the left one, slide my leg. It's hard to walk. And we do the penguin walk, Martin and I.
Penguin walk.
But we do it now at the beach, at the sand. We do the same.
Mariam, at what stage? I mean, I know that the British and the Americans and the Italians and Canadians, they were all fighting for you, and some Muslim countries were fighting for your release as well. And at what stage did you realize? Because I know you were finally released on the 26th of June 2014. That was just a month after you had your little girl. And actually it's just a day before my birthday, so that's how I remember your release. But
I was in 23rd, and then I rearrested again.
Yeah. And what was that like to be rearrested at the airport, the whole lot of you on your way out of Sudan?
Okay, they have something they didn't take away from me. So they, when I rearrested at the airport, this is very bad story actually. When I was released, I wasn't able to go home. It's no longer safe for me to go to normal life. My home, my own home, is not safe for me. So I have to seek a refugee at the church for a couple of hours, and then the church is going to be, because there's Muslim extremist group are very upset. So the church, the U.S. embassy offer refugees for us. British embassy, all many places offer refugees because they were very afraid there's a serious attack which happened to the church. So I went to U.S. embassy the same night. So they stayed the whole night working with the South Sudanese embassy because my husband actually originally from South Sudan. So we had my kids have to get their we've been offered to get status like passport from South Sudan. They done it on like 5 hours because we needed to leave tomorrow, the next day. We needed to leave the country. So I wasn't done anything about my property, my business. Everything was hanged, closed, then, you know. But I own everything, like, you know, the title and things. So when I rearrested, they took us to place where it belonged to the NISS, National Intelligence Security Service. And they said to me, it's really long story, but I will say just summarize it. And they tried to reach agreement with me. You won't be allowed to leave the country if you did not sign off to everything you want to the government, because you don't need anything, because you has caused so much damage to Sudan. By, you know, even when during my labor, when I'm delivering Maya, the guard will push me by the boot, kick me in my back and my belly by the boot. Sudan is being criticized so bad.
You were being kicked even when you were pregnant and kicked.
I am giving birth until I'm in a labor. I'm giving birth. The moment I'm giving birth, they're telling me, when I tell them I'm having a child, they don't believe that I will have a child. They think that I'm trying to escape prison. I said, so I'm waiting the midwife to come and check me. So the guards will kick me by the boot, my belly, on my back. He said, Sudan is being criticized so bad by the world opinion because of you.
The whole world was in outrage. The Netherlands, Canada, Britain, all the humanitarian organizations, America, you know, there and quite a lot of Muslim countries were even coming out about the fact that for any country to be right, a person should have the freedom to follow their own religion. They were coming out about, but you were brought to Italy first on an Italian flight, and
actually that day after I gave up everything, I signed off to everything, we was betrayed. We end up in police station. They said, okay, we're returning you back to the airport. You're going, leaving the country. I have to give up everything I want, everything to the government. And then when after that happened, we find ourselves at the police station, and they file another case, open another police case against me, saying that where did they get the questioning? Where did we get this travel documents and visa and everything?
Okay.
Like, it's diplomatic work between the U.S. embassy and South Sudanese embassy to help me and my kids to get out of the country.
But Mariam, when your husband, and you had the documentation to prove your marriage, so there couldn't have been any denying that you were legally married to your husband.
I wasn't legally married. Even my release, they said we release her because she's I supposed to be transferred to the hospital because I have a mental health issues. That's what they say.
But the fact that your husband, the fact that your husband was American, that would have, surely that would have automatically made your children have citizens of the United States. So when they were, and by virtue you, so when the United States or were, you know, I can't understand how you were treated so badly as the wife of a US citizen and the children of a US citizen who were appallingly treated in their own country. You know, I mean, I can absolutely understand how the world was outraged by what was happening. But you're one of the lucky people, I suppose, who when the world came out in protest against your treatment, that you were lucky to get out. And
Yes.
lucky to things could have gone so much
Well,
worse.
they don't want to let me go. They don't want to let me go, and they wasn't happy. And after they opened that case about the travel documents, it stayed 3 days, and then I have to find somebody to bail me out. And there's no one will accept it. They offer money, they don't want to do it. South Sudanese embassy offered to pay a hush of money, but they don't want to accept it. They want somebody if anything happened. And this man, actually, he's a Muslim man. He came in and he bailed me out, me and my kids. But later he have to face many issues with his family. He ended up now in UK. He live in UK now.
He's living in the UK.
Yes, ma'am, because he's no longer he been kicked out of the house. His family his family knew what happened because his dad is one of the Muslim leaders on the country. So he's really like, he's very loyal to the government at the time, his father.
And he bailed you out.
He bailed me out. He's this boy, man. He been fired from his job. He's an engineer. He work in a very big company. He been fired from his job. He have to hide somewhere far away, and then at the end he have to leave the country.
But that showed incredible humanity. That showed incredible humanity.
Even my lawyer were Muslims. 4 of them were Muslims. They took my case after the first lawyer was scared. She left me in the middle, like in the middle of my trial. That lawyer was she just fearing for her life because her office was being destroyed and everything by the National Intelligence Security Service. She received death threat from Muslim groups and all this stuff. She dropped off the case. I have got to do 3 hearings without lawyer. And then those group of lawyers, they just stepped in when they just stepped in and they said, we're going to take it as a human rights case. And we're going to argue a case like that. But they did a wonderful job. They have given me so many good advice, especially when I faced too much pressure that to run out, to leave the country. They never supported that. They never let anybody talk to me about that. Even my husband's family, they was telling me I have to escape. And I said, no, I'm not. My lawyer said, no, she's not. Okay, because if it happened and I left, this is going to go behind me everywhere. I have to stay in there and I have to make sure God take care of it, not my own. Okay, so I did, and after I was released that day, I have to go back to US Embassy. And then the negotiation between Sudan and US started about that. So Sudan asked to be removed from the terrorist list and the sanction to be lifted against Sudan. And the relationship really wasn't good at that time with US. So the negotiation was failed. And then the Vatican and
you were used as a pawn, basically, while you were in the embassy to try and have the Sudan lifted from the terrorist list.
Yeah, the Sudanese government asked that. Because I'm still on the block list. I'm not allowed to enter the country. I'm not allowed to leave the country. My lawyer also, when they leave the country, because they all have to escape. 3 of them, they are in UK right now. They have to leave in an illegal way to leave the country because they can't,
But you flew to, eventually you flew to Rome. What was the feeling like when the plane was taking off the runway and you were finally I'm sure it was bittersweet, because you love Sudan enough that you would actually continue living there and try and build a life for yourself, and that you defied all their efforts to get you to renounce your Christianity. It must have been bittersweet in one sense, because here you were, taking off for another world, another country, and you knew you were safe,
Mm.
physically safe.
Well, I always know I am safe. I always know God's hand is on me and my children. But what happened that day is, we got visit from Labobistel. At that time, he's deputy Italian foreign minister.
Yeah.
He asked my lawyer and my husband to slow down on a media things like talking, just to be quiet, to take off for a couple of days so he can get to negotiate with Sudan on our behalf. And that's when Italy stepped in and was very successful. And there's some group from the Italian embassy came and visited us at the US embassy. And after that, like 2 weeks from that time, we got another visit and we been asked, okay, they never even inform us we are moving. And when we were traveling, they said, we're moving you to another safe place. Because those family and the other groups, they're always come around the US embassy in Khartoum and they're trying to talk, oh, she's staying here and we won't let her live, to live here or things like that. So they said we're not safe here. So we packed everything. And then I saw some of the Italian embassy staff. And I felt like, yeah, maybe this is the day now. So we flew from Khartoum airport with Italian government airplane. We left Sudan. We flew we landed in Italy on July 24th. It's like 9:30 a.m. We left Sudan at like 2 a.m. in the morning. We left the US embassy. So we land in Italy. After 30 minutes from that, we get to meet with the Pope. We spent 10 days in Italy. It's wonderful times. We've been so welcomed and well treated. And I have long naps.
without Martin running around, or without being chained.
Well, he slept a lot because my kids, when we left, even during our stay at the US embassy, they have very terrible diaper rash from the heat in prison. So
Diaper.
we got to heal from, but God is good. He always rescue and restore. We
At any stage, Mariam, then you moved, I should say, then you moved to the United States, where you moved first to New Hampshire. And I have to say, I was in New Hampshire for 3 weeks, and it's just beautiful, and it's so peaceful, and it's so relaxing. It must have been completely different in New Hampshire for you from Sudan, but now you live in Virginia.
mm-hmm.
What was the change like for you, the United States? How big a change was it, having to learn the language? I presume you didn't speak English until you went to America.
Well, actually, I don't want to talk much about that, but I'm blessed. I left Sudan, came to this country to start my life from the zero ground, almost from nothing. But I almost grateful that my children, my husband, and I'm alive. Like we're family. Nobody. We lost material things. We lost like physically out the country, but. And I know our life will never be the same. Like we have to fight now from court, from African Commission courts, from US courts to be able to go back to Sudan, be able to communicate normal life, to be able not to seen as an infidel who escaped this sentence. No, I'm the person who stood for his right and for others' right, because what I witness in prison is so much injustice, and this is something have to be changed. So
Are you seriously, sorry, Mariam, are you seriously thinking of going back to the Sudan?
well,
Mariam.
God will able to. He changed the heart of the king when Esther. He uses Esther to change the heart of the king and to save her people. God can to use my daughter, not just me. We think will happen in the future. I'm not looking for today because these people they needed help. Not just me. It's not now. I'm not just talking about now. Just like this year, next year. I know it takes so long time. Even now, my kids. The way now I try to explain to my children to make them not to feel angry or upset about someone. So I would tell them they would know a story about Paul when he once was a persecutor. He persecuted the believer, and then later he's a preacher. He preached the gospel to others. So God,
you're the co-founder of Global Mobilization at Tahrir Al-Nisa Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you actually believe that there's a lot more Christians in Sudan being persecuted, and you know that you've said yourself that, and to quote you, there are many Mariams in Sudan and throughout the world, and it's your mission to try and be the voice for other Miriams or Mariams around the world who are suffering. But
yes.
Do you go back to Sudan?
Do you not
go back to Sudan to do that, or can you do that from the United States and the safety of?
Yes. There's many people. Not just me. We all can do that. We all can help. We all can make a change. We all can. We just one thing that I do always believe in. We share Jesus' love with us. We don't even go and tell people like what they do to us. You have to convert. We just be his hands on earth because that's our job is to do that. It's really our job to be his hand. Because I was in that prison, I always tell my kids that. Martin was telling me, Mommy, how do people get to know you? I said, people didn't get to know you, but God put me in their hearts. I did not call people, like I called God in a prayer. I was praying in that dark prison cell, and now people get to know me because God put me in their heart. It's hard. And I do have so much respect, and I'm so grateful for each person who had prayed, advocate, and called for my release. Because if without their help, God don't come down in heaven from and help do things. He uses people. He uses the people. And when it ever happens, you will be a part of somebody's rescue, part of somebody's freedom. You are an answer to that person's prayer.
Well, I'm listening to you, Mariam. What are you doing now? Did you set up a business at all in the United States, or have you completely thrown yourself into your foundation? And I should say I'd like to thank Alice Butler Short for introducing me to this spectacular woman. And you use that word quite often with people, spectacular and inspirational, but it's truly true about you, Mariam. We all talk about being, say, Christian or being Muslim or being Jewish or whatever religion we're brought up in, and we all talk. We talk about Christianity in the broad sense of Christianity, but you are a true Christian. You're a true believer, irrespective of the faith that you believe in. Somebody who would actually put your own life in that immense danger because you had such such utter belief that God was looking after you.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking how shallow I feel, how shallow my life feels. That, I would have considered myself a believer, and I consider myself religious in a sense. But I don't know, would I actually have done half the things you've done. I don't know, would have had the moral courage to have sacrificed or taken a chance at sacrificing my life
Uh,
for.
so my life in the States might not be a big different from where I am, because I really didn't experience much a change in general. With the language, I studied in English, but we speak British English, and then we don't talk. Like, it take me quite time to navigate and get into with the people's accent. They talk fast and things like that. So I never been to school. I just done some courses, CNA nursing courses, and most of the time there's so much change happen. I don't want to talk about this right now in my personal life, on my marriage, but most of the time I spend to take care of my children because they need it so much. And
Yeah,
but I will tell you something. We had a very, very blessed and beautiful life right now. We never had a bad day, no matter what the situation is. It wasn't an easy journey, but it's not impossible with God. Everything is possible. As I said, He rescue and restore. We are blessed. We had a wonderful community, church, support of friends and families. I have one of my friends. When I do travel, I leave my children in her home. She even have rooms for them. They call her Auntie Debbie. So she's we don't go the same church, but we go sometimes visit their church, their parish. My kids go to Catholic school. They got a full scholarship from one of the Catholic schools. One of the things that I did, I started putting them in the school since 3 years old, pre-K3, because I wanted them to learn the language, to make friends, because we don't have much family, especially in Virginia. We don't have much families.
yeah.
At the same time, I'm trying to set boundaries for my kids from others. Still, even now, we get criticized. By the way, I went to prison. My daughter will be called the prison child. So I want to make sure they grow, they understand exactly why we went to prison, and they do now. They do right now. They do understand, and they're very grateful for my experience. They are so happy. They're grateful for our experience. And then,
They must be incredibly proud of you. They must be,
well,
but at the same time, it must put an awful burden on them as well, because they're thinking to themselves, I have got to try to be an eighth as strong as my mother. And
Martin asked yesterday. He was like, I found him. He's asking Siri, what my mom made of.
yeah,
He's asking Siri, what my mom made of.
what
Like,
I'm made of.
yeah.
Yeah, you're made of stronger stuff, I think, than most people.
I am, but because of them and because of Jesus, he is. We live our life just for him. Like, I left Sudan, I left everything, but I have Jesus in my heart. They wasn't able to take him out of my heart. They wasn't able to separate me from him. And they won. Nothing will separate us from his love. And that's what I see myself. That's what that's enough for me. I don't need anything else. I didn't
Time.
need approval. I didn't need the word approval. I have Jesus, and that's it. And whoever came in my life, in this new life, that's the moment I was in the airplane, I said, I have Jesus now. They would never let me, they would never force me to talk or to say the worship that they wanted me to say. I have a victory in him. I am victorious because I was able to stand this. And now I'm leaving the country. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be rough. And I don't know anything about it, but God knows. And he knows what's the best for me. He always have good plans for me, for my children. And there, we're just grateful for everything we have. We left Sudan. We landed in Italy. We got blessed by the Holy Father. He blessed Maya's life. Even after that, I noticed many change in her health, because I would look everywhere, and she was born premature without medical care. So I have to take care of her my own. So even the moment I was giving birth to her, I fainted it because I wake up with a child crying. All this physical pain they want to put on me, I never experienced it. All this, no any physical pain. I never felt any because he always turned our pain and suffering to joy. There's so much joy hearing her voice crying the moment I have a new life, and that's what it is. I was given new life, was given second chance. So if there's anything will come from that life, I want it just to be to glorify his name and to honor his name. And I do pray every day that just no matter what's happened, I always to pray this one prayer. God, please help me to be faithful to you in the time of trial. Because when trials of life came, you be distracted by too many things. When you run to friends, you never know what they will say, how they will advise you. When you run to people, whatever, you never know. But God, always right. With God, everything always right. So that's I always just pray one thing. Just help me to be faithful to you in the time of trial. Like I run to you wherever I needed help. If there's something that you had for me in life, just let it be the way you want it, just not mine.
Well, Mariam, I think that's probably the best place to end the interview.
Yeah.
The chat. I'd rather think of it as a chat. You're an inspiration. You've
Thank
certainly. I'm going away from this interview now feeling very inadequate and feeling very unworthy. If that's because
Worthy of his love, and we are valuable. He loved us so much, and we're thankful. Just we know him, we know Jesus, we have him in our life. This is.
Well, thank you so much, and I thank Alice Butler Short for putting us in contact
Friend.
with her. She's another formidable woman.
Oh yes.
Is our Alice, small, but proves one thing, as good things come in small packages.
Yes. Yes, she's wonderful. I'm so grateful for my friendship with her.
She's great. She's lovely. But thank you so much, Mariam. Thank you. God bless.
Bless you.
Bless.
Thank you.
Bye bye.